you can see roughly 60 hours of documentation on what happened to me, including all the MRI, all the CT, all the x-rays, the uploaded written doctor's reports. I have recorded telephone calls, YouTube channel, My Medical Nightmare. Alright, some new reviews out on Complete Health, which hosts primary care doctors and nurses in many locations around Birmingham, Alabama. I'll go into my own negligence-ridden experience with this practice, formerly known as Northside Medical Associates, CEO Dr. Ronald Helms. But one problem I had in my visits is I would routinely try to arrange an appointment with an actual doctor. They always came back and told me the doctor's schedule was booked up, that I could only see a nurse. I had visits at the Trussville, Alabama location in 2019 and 2020. Digging through some of the reviews on Complete Health, I noticed this issue as a repeating theme. I'll mention this review written in 2024. This is for the Pell City location, which was formerly the headquarters of Northside Medical Associates, location 74 Plaza Drive, Pell City, Alabama 35125. The review reads, "This place has honestly become a joke. They only care about growing the number of patients that they have, not providing their existing patients with adequate care. I can schedule an appointment weeks in advance and only get to see a nurse practitioner. I have not seen a real doctor in over 2 years. Their phone service is the absolute worst. You can never get a real person on the phone. I waited over 25 minutes on the phone and finally had to just leave my number and wait for a call back. I verified with 2 different people the date and time of my appointment, only to get there and be told that my appointment is a week away. When I told the staff member there that it must have been a mistake, she rolled her eyes and got an attitude and tried to argue with me. We'll be looking for a new doctor, one that actually sees their patients." I had some visits at the Complete Health Trussville location at 7201 Happy Hollow Road, Trussville, Alabama 35173. This is just off Deerfoot Parkway. Most recently, in 2025, I regrettably had to deal with this location again for a family member, and there I made a startling discovery. The office has adopted a rather unethical and unprofessional practice of using representatives to speak to the public who discuss health information and are responsible but go by pseudonyms, nicknames, and outright refuse to give identity when requested. I visited 2019-2020 when it was called Northside Medical Associates. Referred to MRI in the same building, billed by St. Vincent's Ambulatory Healthcare Network LLC, $500. The radiologist misdiagnosed an injury that appeared in those images. 10-year honors graduate, neuroradiology specialist, Dr. Michael Brant Ruff, MD for Vulcan Imaging Associates, did not note the broken skull bone or 6 inches diameter infection that appears in the pictures. You can see the actual MRI images I am referring to in this video. I had many problems with the nurses I saw here, acknowledging the very serious injury I had. Broken skull in the area of the occipital condyle condylar canal, possibly foramen magnum. Head trauma infection, so 6 inches diameter, visible in the MRI. I almost did not make it trying to deal with this injury. Doctors and nurses who were trying to mislead me in this very vulnerable time period, especially when I was paying them money for medical services, this was not appreciated. Curiously, when the nurses seemed uninterested in examining me, I was not referred to the MDs in the location like Dr. Scott Boykin. So what happened here? Did they patient dump me? I saw nurses Frankie James Crum and Celeste Richardson. The MRI tech for St. Vincent's misrecorded which side of my head and neck my pain was actually on in her notes. Crum was attentive. I thought he was going to help me. He stuck an instrument in my ear and could see visible infection and swelling from the 6-inch mass in my head, and that same infection appears in the MRI. In his notes, that's written down and recorded. Crum saw the MRI pictures and everything changed. Probably realized I had a $1 million head injury. After I told him about the antibiotics effects in the next visit, he sounded in a panic, repeating, we're done, and the exam ended. This was an extremely disheartening experience. I was not done because I still needed treatment for a possible critical injury that almost cost me my life. Yeah, Crum kept talking about physical therapy, and he wrote some critical observation about my concerns of seeing a physical therapist. And yeah, it's really simple, okay? You have a broken neck, broken skull, a broken foramen magnum, you can go into physical therapy. Alright, you just think about this for a second, alright? I was told by the Northside Medical Complete Health staff that the results of the St. Vincent's MRI were normal, negative, and contained no injury. And this is not true. And I brought this up to Nurse Crum and Celeste Richardson. Unfortunately, they did not take my concerns that seriously. Money's paid for services. I obtained imagery from the scan and my records and found I had serious head trauma in the basilar area of my skull. I made Northside Medical Associates aware of this and even called CEO Dr. Ronald Helms of Pell City. My phone call was never returned. I believe there was substantial talent in this practice to help me, but they did not. Nurse Crum told me he was going to call St. Vincent's and try to get the MRI error straightened out. I had a $700 bill all in, and my injury was not noted. This resolution never happened. Phone tag went on for weeks. Eventually told I was being quote, referred, unquote, to Cooper Green to a neurologist because I had no insurance or source of income. Actually, I was being patient dumped by St. Vincent's and Complete Health, who did not want to acknowledge the truth of my injury. My next visit with Celeste Richardson in 2020 was a new low. Conversing with her very difficult. Seemed oblivious that I had any injury or prior injury history. Talking about this area of my neck and head. She was not open to my input. I took in printouts of the MRI CT frames showing the broken skull and massive infection. She simply asked me, where did you get those images? She did not want to see them, and I didn't believe I had a physical injury. I requested anti-parasite medication and argued over this with Celeste Richardson. She wanted to take a blood test, which I refused. She walked out on me before the exam was finished because of this, and I was accused of trying to dictate my treatment for my efforts. Finally agreed to the blood test. I requested a detailed analysis of the blood for parasites, fungus, and other issues. She denied me this, and she made a offhanded comment that that was going to be expensive. Got the blood test back. Celeste Richardson dismissed some of the anomalies there, simply stress. And this was absolutely not true. You can see the MRI images. Had massive infection in my head and neck. Slowly and incrementally, my health was declining. Paid money went to these medical practitioners. My time was wasting. They were playing these games. I complained to the Northside Medical Associates office manager. She said the MRI people next door would contact me, but never did. I was denied a request for medical records from Northside Medical Associates Complete Health on the same day. Usually any medical practice will simply print out the patient's medical records right in front of them. It usually takes a couple of minutes. That didn't happen in this case. They said they were going to need several days to prepare my records before they would give them to me. When I finally received my medical records from these visits, they appeared edited with boilerplate disclaimers inserted, as well as curiously empty fields, etc. I believe this practice backed the misdiagnosis of their business partner Ascension, UAB St. Vincent's, Vulcan Imaging, and Dr. Michael Brandt Ruff in a sloppy attempt at patient dumping.